I am Dr. Anantaya MB, Professor of Civil Engineering Department, SUIT Bangalore. Today we will see the module 3rd of strength of material subject, that is bending moment and shear forces. In this, first definition is what is beam? A beam is a horizontal structural member in a building to resist the lateral loads applied to the axis of the beam. Applied to the axis of the beam. A beam is a horizontal structural member in a building to resist the lateral loads applied to the axis of the beam. If you write the figure for this beam, it is a horizontal member. Supported on both sides. Applied by external loads, and the distance between the support, it is called as span of the beam. It is represented by L. Then this is called beam. It is having a neutral axis which divides this beam into two. This is called neutral axis. These are called support. This is called support. This also support. This is beam. Now, what all are the types of supports? Next topic is types of supports. In that, first one is simple support. First one. This is simple support. The support for a beam on knife edge at points A and B shown in the figure. This type of support develops only vertical reaction VA and VB. Therefore, I will write the figure of this. This is the beam. Here one support is there. This support is hinge. Here one support is there. Again loads are acting. W. Loads are acting. Now this reaction is VA. If you mark this point as A, this reaction is VB. If you mark this as point B. See, these are the knife edge or arrow edges for the loads. Here also, this also arrow edges for the loads. The support for a beam, this is the support. Two supports are there at A and B. The support for a beam, on knife edges, KNIFE, knife edges at points A and B, at points A and B as shown in the figure, as shown in the figure. This type of supports, develops only vertical reactions VA and VB. This type of supports develops only vertical reactions VA and VB. This is simple support. Next we will see second type of support. It is roller support. Second one is roller support. If the supports for a beam on rollers, then it is called roller support. For example, I will write a beam here. Here the support is on roller. See, this is the roller support. This side is called roller support. This may be the cut section I am showing here, roller support. This is the beam. This point is A. Here reaction develops is VA. These are the rollers. The supports for a beam. The supports for a beam on roller. The support for a beam on roller, beam is on roller as shown in figure. The roller supports develops. The roller support develops only vertical reaction. Then if the support is on roller, then this support is called as roller support. Next, third type is hinge support. Hinge support. H-I-N-G-E, hinge support. Then what is hinge support? The hinge or pin support is one which resists both vertical and horizontal forces. See, I will write a figure here. This is the beam. The hinge will be represented like this. Here one circle and it is like this, the representation of the hinge support. This is A. This is the cut section of the beam. This is beam. It develops two reactions, VA and HA. Horizontal reactions also develops. Therefore, the hinge or pin support the hinge or pin support, the hinge or pin support is one which resists both vertical and horizontal forces Hinge support develops both vertical and horizontal reactions, that is VA and HA for the above figure. Next support is fixed support. Fourth one is fixed support. I will write the figure for this fixed support. This is the beam. I will show the cut section. The representation of the fixed support is like this. This fixed support will develop vertical reaction, horizontal reaction, as well as reaction for rotation, that is MA, moment. It will develop moment. Therefore, a fixed support is one. A fixed support is one which resist vertical force, horizontal force and moment, that is VA, HA and MA. A fixed support will develop the reactions in three directions: vertical, horizontal and rotational. Next is we studied what all are the different types of supports. Now we will see what all are the types of beams. Next is types of beams. First one is simply supported beam. In this first one is simply supported beam. First one is simply supported beam. But when a simply supported beam is a type of beam that has pinned support at one end and other end roller support, then it is called a simply supported beam. I am writing one figure here. See, this is line diagram of the beam. Here the support is hinge support. Here the support is roller support. See, here hinge, here roller support. This beam is loaded with some loading, uniformly distributed loading. W per meter. This length between the two support, it is called as span of the beam. Now here simply support hinge means it will develop two reactions, VA and HA. VA and HA. Roller means it will develop only reaction VB. Therefore, this is called simply support. One side is hinge, another side is roller. Then it is called as simply supported beam. We will write this: a simply supported beam. A simply supported beam. Simply supported beam is a type of beam. Is a type of beam. Type of beam that has pinned support. That has pinned or hinged support. Pinned or hinged support. Pinned or hinged support. Pinned or hinged support at one end. At one end. At one end. And the other end, the roller support, and the roller support, the roller support at the other end. At the other end, one side is hinge support or pin support, another side is roller support. Then it is called as simply supported beam. Next we will see what is cantilever beam. Second one is cantilever beam. Cantilever beam. Cantilever beam. Second type is cantilever beam. I will write the figure. This is the fixed end. One side is fixed, another end is free. Then that type of beam is called cantilever beam. This is the beam. See, this end is free, this end is fixed. Here no support. Therefore, here fixed end will develop VA, HA and MA. Three reactions it will develop if this point is end is A. This end is A. Therefore, what is cantilever beam? If one end of the beam is fixed, another end is free, then it is called as cantilever beam. Cantilever beam. We will write this: if one end of the beam, if one end of the beam is fixed, and other end is free, then that beam is called as cantilever beam. We see now what is cantilever beam. Next we will see what is overhanging beam. What is overhanging beam? Third one is overhanging beam. Overhanging beam. Overhanging beam. I will write a figure here before explanation. See, this is the beam. This is the beam. Here it is hinge support. Hinge means here one small circle is there, hinge support. Here it is roller support. See, this is the overhang portion. If a beam is having overhang, then it is called overhanging beam. Overhanging beam. How many reactions here? For example, this point is A, this point is B, this point C, some load is here, W. Now here VA reaction is there. Hinge means HA reaction is there. Roller means only VB is there. VB is there. Now here, if a beam is projected, if a beam is projected, if a beam is projected, if a beam is projected beyond the support, beyond the support as shown in the figure, as shown in the figure, and it is called as, overhanging beam. Now one more type you will see, it is fixed beam. What is fixed beam? Fourth type is fixed beam. If end of the beams are fixed, if both ends of the beams are fixed, then such beams are called as fixed beam. For example, I will write a figure now. This is the beam. Here the end is fixed. Fixed symbol is like this. Here it is fixed. This point is A. This point is B. Here VA reaction develops. HA reaction develops. Moment also develops MA. Here also reaction VB develops. Reaction HB develops. Also moment MB develops. At fixed and support there are three reactions, VA, HA and EMA. Therefore, if both ends of the beam, if both the ends of the beam are fixed, then the beam is called as fixed beam. Fixed beam. Then last one we will see, that is the fifth one, continuous beam. It is the last type of the beam. See, it is a beam which has more than two supports. For example, this is the beam. See, here one support is there, hinge support. One more support here, it is roller support. One more support here, it is roller support. See how many A, B, C, three supports are there, or sometimes it is more than 3, 4, 5, 6. Therefore, if a beam is having more than two supports, then it is called as continuous beam. We will write this as a continuous beam. Is a beam which has more than two supports. That means here three supports are there, A, B, C. If more than two, it is called as continuous beam.